Welcome, Cancer, to your July 2023 ethics reading. Ethics readings are a little different than what you're used to with your usual, astrological reading, because I go by basically not a natal chart, but what I call a natal chart, me being Daniel Natal. And it's made up of the concept of personality types. And I believe that there are 12 basic personality types, and I think that most kind of societies have attested to this in terms of Chinese astrology, Indian astrology, Western astrology, things like 12 people on a jury, 12 apostles. You have things like the disc system that is made up of, kind of a psychological taxonomy of 12 different personality types, or there's the Myers-Briggs personality system. Cancers share with people in the Myers-Briggs system traits similar to the NFJ types. Both ENFJs and INFJ types might identify with the sensitivity of cancers. ENFJ stands for extroverted, intuitive feeling and judgment, and INFJ stands for introverted, intuitive feeling and judgment. And these types strive to bring kindness to every one of their interactions, and they respond well to art and nature. Cancers are typically intuitive, which allows them to read and, sometimes to misjudge other people around them. In the DISC personality taxonomy, which stands for dominance, influence, steadiness, and conscientiousness, you'd straddle the influence and steadiness categories. You establish connections with people and you want to be supportive. And it's good to know these kind of ideas, these characteristics that you have with, as I said, just to start out, there's the astrological kind of concept of, you being a Cancer. There is the Myers-Briggs system. There is the DISC personality system. But then there's a fourth one that I take into account, and that is Plato's taxonomy from the Republic, where he talks about the fact that there are, three basic personality types or strata in society. One is at the lowest end, the senses-based people. In the middle is honor-based people. And at the top are truth-based people. You guys are honor-based people. If you notice my logo back there, it is made up of three levels. It's an A and an E for actionable ethics, but the lowest kind of stratum there is for the sense-based people. And as I said, that would be like people who are addicted to sensory stimulation, like drug addicts, people who are addicted to sex and food and stuff like that. In the center are the honor-based people, just as I said before, and that would be people like police officers, soldiers, politicians, people who basically crave honor. And at the top are truth-based people, which is, groups that are, like philosophers and scientists and stuff like that. By the way, you guys, your birthday is, or your birth month, I should say, is from June 21st to July 22nd. So it's kind of odd that the months astrologically are kind of like north and true north in terms of like magnetic, right? So there's the months that we've evolved, as nation states, but then there's the actual months. And so this is your birthday month. So that reminds me. And so I just wanted to, say that, by the way, that the idea of Heraclitus, that character is destiny, right? He says character is destiny. And that's extremely important as a concept, because if you want to know your future, if you want to know your fate, all you have to do is look at your character, because people tend to act in terms of habit. It's very common for people to have 7-year cycles, as an example, right? Where you'll repeat the same themes every 7 years until you learn that lesson. And then finally you could kind of break that cycle. And this is why, even though I'm actually interested in kind of the concept of personality types and even, astrology in a sense, but only insofar as it explores the idea of personality, the miracle of personality. And so, that's why you have in Julius Caesar, Shakespeare says, the fault, dear bird, is not in the stars, but in ourselves. So if you really want to know, like where you're headed in life, you have to have some kind of ethical basis. and to know whether you're based in virtue or vice, and it'll be pretty clear to you at that point. But I'm also an intuitive person, so I believe in kind of taking cues from the universe. So here are some ethics cards, and these are my own ethics cards from a deck that I created, and it just basically has, and I'll shuffle this deck. It basically has quotes from some of the greatest minds in history in terms of philosophy and ethics and stuff like that. And so I'm just going to pull 3 random cards out, and we will see if the universe has a message for you. And let's see. So the first card says, "We will not bargain with them ever to take in exchange all their wealth for our virtue, since virtue is ever abiding. Riches are held for a time here and there among men." Solon of Athens, right? So Solon the Great said that we'll never trade our virtue for wealth, right? So basically, you're not going to be bribed by people who try to suborn your will. The next message to you is, "Strong minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, and weak minds discuss people." And that's Socrates, right? So you have to be conscious this month of gossip. Don't give way to gossip. Strong minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, and weak minds discuss people. This kind of coincides with sense-based people, honor-based people, and truth-based people. So the sense-based people would be gossiping about others. The honor-based people would basically be talking about events, and the truth-based people would be talking about ideas. And the third message to you is, "To superficial minds, the vices of the great seem at all times agreeable." Adam Smith, right? So this is Adam Smith. He wrote The Wealth of Nations. So he's largely thought of as an economist, but really before he gained fame as an economist, he gained renown as an ethicist. And he wrote a book called, what was it? The Theory of Moral Sentiments, I think it was. And yeah, very phenomenal mind. But he says that to superficial minds, the vices of the great seem at all times agreeable. And this is a problem that we have. Whenever we have, kind of people, heroes that we look to in our societies, we basically give them a pass, and we look at their vices and we think, hey, if they've got that vice, it can't be that bad. For instance, if people are, into jazz, jazz musicians, and they'll look at some of the greatest heroes using heroin, and they think, hey, to be a great jazz musician, I've got to use heroin. Or you'll look at people who notice that a lot of our political and financial class might be engaging in sexual vice. And then so they start thinking, oh, well, that must be the sophisticated route. Let me justify kind of like perverse activities and I'll look really sophisticated and smart. But really, I mean, you're just giving in to bad behaviors and habits. And Adam Smith is warning against that. Don't emulate the worst excesses of people that you would otherwise admire. So, those are some of your themes for this month. I look forward to talking to you next month. If you'd like to support me, feel free to order my ethics courses. Otherwise, I'll have to do my original merch, which was stuff like the Daniel Natal in action figure. You can see Daniel engaging in an action as he surfs the web or as he watches television. And just as bad a seller was the Daniel Natal Pez dispenser. That wasn't very good, but it did slightly better than the Daniel Natal urinal cake. That wasn't a very good merch idea. But remember to like and subscribe this video. And if you want some extra personal ethics coaching for an issue you might have, you can set up a Zoom call with me by pressing the button below. Pick what calendar date and time you want, and you can hash over whatever thorny moral dilemma that you're facing. Also, check out my ethics fundamentals course, as I said before. The links are below, and I will catch you next time.
The world is suffering from a moral decline. We've been lurching from one crisis after another due to a lack of ethics in society. You can do your part now by considering ordering my Ethics Fundamentals courses for your children, or if you're a small business owner, using them as part of your onboarding process for new employees. Employees these days have horrible soft skills. Help them out by teaching them ethics. Businesses lose 7% in revenue due to employee theft. Train a more ethical workforce and save some of that money. According to the Ethics Center in Australia, a 10% increase in ethical behavior is associated with an increase of 2.7 to 6.6% in individual wages. Implementing ethical structures makes your company more investable as well. Make ethics a part of your business processes, or if you're a parent, part of your homeschooling curriculum. Go to www.actionableethics.com and press the button to order the course. Actionableethics.com. Order now.